Well, the pedals haven't gone in quite as straight as I would like them to have done. Could go around the side, look. They will work and they'll be alright for now, but yeah, they should be up higher, so yeah, I've cocked up a little bit on pedal positioning. Just checking to see how I got the floor out so I can work out how to put it back in. Well, you'll notice the car is no longer on the build table because it's down there. So we had a real problem getting the floor on yesterday when we mounted the gearbox mounting plates and the engine mounting plates that bolt through the floor. When we finally came to the front, we realised the holes didn't line up. This was a real issue on the old car because that was the mounting points for lower wishbones. But now it really is just there to hold the floor on, so I'm probably going to use some smaller bolts and just bolt through and just leave it be. But yeah, it was quite a pain, and I think if I ever take the floor off again, it's going to go back on in a different way. Other good news, the prop shaft turned up. Many thanks to Bailey Morris, who were able to turn this around very quickly, as they said they would. They did it in less than 2 days, and since they're quite local to me, I was able to go and pick it up, so that's the new one. If you click on the link, you'll see the video where I explained why we need to change the prop shaft. But yeah, you can see the much bigger tube is going to offer much bigger stiffness, which is going to be great for a race car. I even weighed it against the old system and it came out 300 grams lighter, so that's a big win. So plan for today is to sort that floor out down there and then move the car to the final build location, and then I think we'll start on the rear axle and get the prop shaft fitted. This is the rear A-arm, and this bolts to the rear chassis through the floor through these 2 points here, and basically there's this sort of piece with a 3/8 bolt with a 9/16 headed bolt and nut that bolts through. Now it's really close to the chassis member, so this hex, it's really difficult to get in. So what I've done is I've changed it for a cap head bolt, and also there's no thread lock or anything on here, so I've just coated some thread lock on here and I'll torque it up that way so I can get a hex tool in there. It's a slightly smaller head, so it should just clear the chassis member, and obviously we've got the protection of the thread lock as well, so it should be a bit of an improvement over this. Well, I've changed my mind on this and I've decided to take the bolt through the bottom rather than through the top like this, because it's so close to the chassis. Trying to get the bolt through this chassis to the bottom is really difficult, so I'm going to go underneath and then bolt on top. It seems to make a lot more sense, I think. These inserts that go onto will go through here, and they're really tight into here, and it's causing some galling on these aluminium pieces, so I'm just machining them down just so they fit more smoothly. I know it went in that way, but it's not going in quite the same way, so I don't want to force and break anything. It will just cause damage, so we'll make them fit the proper way. It's a bit hard to see, but that rod end is fouling that bolt in there, so we're probably just going to have to take the washer out to give it some clearance. Not what I want to be doing, but I've decided to shave that bolt off a little bit just to get the clearance I need, and hopefully that will do it. Well, my goal for today was to try and get the rear axle in. Obviously it's not in. We have got these rear linkages in. That's for the suspension joints, and this is for the bottom of the axle, this A-arm. I think I would have struggled to get the axle in because I need to put the fuel tank in first, I've remembered. So the next job might actually be putting in the fuel system and the fuel tank and running that to the front. Yeah, so we'll put the fuel tank in, maybe part the fuel system, and then we'll consider putting the axle in. But first, before we put the axle in, we also need to put those new rear brake pads in as well. So hopefully the next job will be fuel tank and rear axle, and then we can start putting things like the gearbox and the engine. Once the engine goes in, I know I'm in a good place, because the front end I know really well, having built it, and it should go together fairly easily. And then it's just the wiring, which will probably be another day of work as well. But we're getting close. We've got a week to the shakedown, so we might be able to do it.